All right, y'all, Coach Kia here. Thanks for tuning into this video. I thought I'd do a quick video review. If you're one of those people who have reached out and gotten a copy of the Ultimate Meal Prepping Guide 101, this video is going to be paired perfectly with that. I'm going to go over each of the sections, and then I'm also going to give you some more tips and tricks that I used to implement into my dieting and something I pass on to my clients, but also something that's going to be really helpful for you to pair up with the PDF guide. Now, you can take this guide standalone, it'll stand on its own, but I think it's always helpful to have something to pair with it. I'm a visual learner, so I have to see something, I have to actually practice it myself, and then that's how I'm able to learn. It must be the fireman in me, but I'm very hands-on, and so just having the guide alone I think is great, but it helps to have a video resource to tie with it. So I thought I'd roll this out for you. So here we go. You've got it. That's the opening page. Go over some of the things here. If you'll take a quick review of the table of contents, I'll walk you down through what all is included in this guide. Very straightforward, very to the point. Again, a quick brief once over on all the information that's covered in the guide. And if you'll see here, I've got all my handles for all my socials. If you came across one of the videos that prompted you to download the guide, you might have caught me on one of these socials, but they are there again for you if you want to reach out to me directly on Instagram, LinkedIn. Also can find me on Facebook or email me directly, info@tautuafitness.com. And that is jumping right into it. So when it comes down to it, if you want to lose weight, you're going to lose the weight. But I'm more focused on the longevity and doing it in a healthy manner. So you're not all kinds of messed up by overly restricting yourself and feeling like crap. That's really the main thing, is to get you through it to where you can stick to it and you can enjoy it, but also that you're losing the weight. And we'd like to prefer that be from fat or your body's stored energy. And by doing foods that you actually enjoy and that you actually look forward to, you will stick to it and adhere to it longer. And the longer you can stick to something consistently through, hopefully at a deficit, if you're in a weight loss program, you're going to be at a slight deficit, which means less calories than you require, you are going to lose weight. Do you want to feel like crap while you do it? No, most people don't. You want to lose weight? You can. It's simple math, but want to go about it with a resource that you can do it healthily and sustain it for a long time. That's the whole point. So go over being able to balance and moderate what you're eating. That's really the whole point of this, is by going super restrictive, by cutting out everything you love, cutting out that you'll never have a cookie again, is not really sustainable. But in moderation, you can have one every now and then as a reward, as a treat. That's why they're desserts, that's why they're special. But everything in moderation through the long term and through the averages, it's what's going to dictate whether you lose weight or not. And so we cover that. One of the main things you want to do is concentrate on eating whole foods. Now, when we talk about whole foods, we're talking about bananas, oranges, lettuce, vegetables, things that are whole, that are complete actual foods. And having that be the basis of your diet is going to, one, it's going to preferentiate that you're having things that are more wholesome and nutritious and packed with vitamins and fiber and all the things that our body understands what it is when it goes inside. It's not something that's produced in a lab. Whole food is what you really want to base the foundation of your diet on. And when we're talking about nutrient dense foods, that's foods that are filled with vitamins, minerals, and substance, things that are going to give you what you need. And what I like telling my clients, and something that's really made a big difference for me, is understanding your food is going to be quality versus quantity. So the quality of your food, or the nutrient density, whether it's a whole food or a processed food, when it comes to the quality, this is the key point, is going to dictate how you feel. So you can eat very high quality food and feel better, but if the quantity, which is the other half of that, if the quantity is way out of balance or you're out of surplus, you're going to gain weight. So I like looking at it like that. You got quality versus quantity. You want high quality food, and you want the quantity to match what your end goal is. If you're trying to lose weight, you want that quantity to be down. If you're in a weight gaining phase or you're trying to build that extra muscle, you want to be at a slight caloric surplus. Or you want the quantity to be slightly up so that you're feeling good, you're adding the muscle that you want, you're getting the strength that you want. had to go on a tangent with that. Also want to touch a bit on hydration. This, I feel, it just beats people over the head to, you got to drink water, you got to stay hydrated. It's because by staying hydrated, your body and your digestive system, your GI is going to be able to efficiently break down these foods. You also have a ton of other processes that are happening in the body. And by being well hydrated, all those processes, along with having nutrient dense food, whole foods, and having the right balance of vitamins, minerals, and not being deficient anywhere, is going to sustain that process is happening efficiently, and you're getting the most out of your food, and you're not feeling like crud while you're doing it. Mindful eating is just having that good relationship with your food. You want to be mindful of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the long term, that it's to improve your overall health. You want to lose weight. Yeah, we want to look better, but not destroying your relationship with food to where it's this big enemy. It's this big bad guy. I was lost for words. But you don't want it to be something where you're constantly working against yourself there. And so, of course, you all can read. I'll let you, when you have the guide, to read through this. But again, just want to cover some of those things briefly on what a healthy diet is. I've got that page in there twice. Go ahead and remove. So touch a little bit on what grains are, how to know to get the right whole grain foods as being a base of some of that whole grain, whole food approach. Fruits is going to be one way you can get those natural sugars. You can satisfy that sweet tooth by getting plenty of those fruits in. Also beans and legumes. Look, when I did plant-based, that was the staple of my diet. It was beans, legumes, other ways of getting my protein, both complete and incomplete, while not eating meat at the time. And that was the basis of my diet for about 5 years when I went on a plant-based only diet. Vegetables, if you're not anything kindergarten or less, you should know what your vegetables are, but they're going to play an essential part of this healthy diet. It's going to give you a wide range of those vitamins and minerals. And when we talked about getting your complete proteins, look, all foods, all vegetables, all fruits, they all have an array, that amino acid profile. Some are incomplete, some are complete, but by having a wide range of these, you're able to make up those complete proteins by eating in a large variety of it. And it also helps, so you're not just eating the same thing over and over. You're getting all those vitamins in, you're getting all your amino acids, you're getting your proteins, and that's one way you can do it, by having a large range of food that you're eating. Meat, seafood, and poultry, the meat and potatoes, like literally when it comes to the protein portion of your guide. And you want to try to lean towards more lean meats and lean cuts of meat. And say if you're getting ground beef or something, they've got really lean portions of that. You can go all the way up to 97.3. That's 97% protein, the 3% fat, or you can go 80-20. It really depends, but you want to really focus on having those lean cuts of meat. And all day long, I see fats are the enemy. Fats and carbs. Look, your body needs fats to sustain a healthy body. Also, when it comes to your hormone functioning, you got to have fat in your diet. Completely that out all the way, it's going to hurt you in the long run. And so a way to think about it is you got your healthy fats and you got your unhealthy fats. And here's a way you can get in those healthy fats, all the omega-3s, all the fat profiles that you need to sustain a healthy hormonal balance in your body: nuts, seeds, oil, healthy fats, and be able to implement those into your diet. But they also happen to be the most calorie dense of the macronutrients. So you have to be aware of how much you're bringing in. Just because they're healthy, just you get a big old jar from Costco of nuts, unsalted or not, that's still going to be very dense. When we talked about density of these foods, it's still going to be very dense calorically, especially when it comes to fats, that you could easily overeat on that quantity we talked about earlier. So that's one way to look at that. And when it comes to building a perfect meal, as far as portioning out your plate, this is a beautiful example. It took a little bit of work to get it figured out this way, but if you're looking at just your plate, as you get used to implementing a meal prep, you will get used to portioning it out this way. And so if you have no measuring tools at all, you could just use your eyeballs. And if you got a plate, most of that plate will be covered up with the proteins and the vegetables. And as you can see, when we get to the old school measuring methods, when it comes to fats and those carbohydrates, that should only be taking up a smaller portion of your plate. So if you look at it here, most of this plate is going to be filled up with those healthy proteins, your vegetables, your whole foods. Then we can get down to the carbohydrates, your sugars, your fruits, and then your healthy fats. We talk about avocados and nuts and seeds. That's one way to look at it. So I like having a visual. Like I said, then the next couple pages here on the guide are going to be your proteins. And so I give you a quick rundown. If you don't have a meal tracker, if you don't have anything to measure this stuff out, this is one way you can know calorically where you're at. Bodybuilding, it's very popular. It's one of the most common dishes where people do a chicken breast, brown rice, and broccoli. It's because it's really easy to calculate your macros or your macronutrients when it comes to that. Calories, very low. It's very high in protein. As you can see here, it's really low on fat. And so I've got all the top protein sources that you should be building your meals around. And this is one great little cheat sheet for you to figure out how you're going to do your meal planning. That's the whole point of this PDF. Carbohydrates. Now, these are going to be the carbohydrates you want to build most of your meal plan around. Again, we're going to be trying to avoid, if we can, all of those highly processed carbohydrates. If we stick to sweet potatoes, white potatoes, taro, fa'i, bananas, for my Polynesian people out there, these are in the same group here, although I don't have them here on this list. It's one way you can get those healthy carbohydrates to prevent your insulin from spiking, your blood sugar level spiking, and to go about it healthily, but also, more importantly, super low on fat, plenty of fiber, so you have no issues there. There is our carbohydrate cheat sheet. Now, when it comes to fats, want to center this around some of those healthy fats. Got your quick little cheat sheet here, so take a peek at that. That's part of the guide. Vegetables. When it comes to setting up your meal prep, it's really important to understand how you're portioning it. Now, this is based on your hand size. You ever see those pictures where they got the basketball player and they have a regular person, they put their hands next to each other? That's a great example about how these portions are going to be different, but I think that's also important to understand that a larger person is going to require larger portions based on what their basal metabolic rate is. And so this is a great guide using what you have, your hands, your fists, and your fingers to help you portion out your food, and gives you a quick little cheat sheet how to do this here. Also, when it comes to your activity level, this is one way we can gauge, all right, if I'm not very active, if I'm pretty sedentary at my job for the most part, on how we're going to be adjusting this, depending on how full or how hungry you are on your meals. This gives you some great little cheat sheets on what you can do. Portion-wise, you can grab a handful, a cup full of carbohydrates. You can add or remove that from your meal planning, and all that's covered here in the guide too as well. And we go through all that. See, we give you a little cheat sheet down here on how you can make adjustments to your meals. When it comes to calculating your calories and macros, I know this looks like a math assignment, but I'm also going to include a link where you can do this automatically. You can find any of these free calculators online. If you actually want to plug it in and run the numbers out, these are the formulations for you to do that, for you to figure out your basal metabolic rate. That is what your body needs. That's the base energy demands of your body based on your height and weight, right? And it's a little different for males and females. So once you figure that out, there is also the second step to figuring out making adjustments. It's actually coefficient that will be multiplying that number again to get your TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. And think of it like this: your basal metabolic rate is just what it requires to maintain homeostasis. If you were just laying in a bed, for your heart to beat and breathe and your eyes to blink, and for you to do all those involuntary movements, just for your body to operate and function a day to day, that's going to be your, and when you multiply it with this coefficient over here, this 1.2, 1.3, and so on and so forth, that's calculating in how active you are. So if you're sedentary, that's little to no exercise. Say you work at a desk and you sit most of your day, then you go home after work and you sit down and watch TV most of the day, you're not very active, I would consider that sedentary. Believe it or not, that does burn some calories throughout the day, but just not as much as someone who's extremely active. So these coefficients make up for that difference. Okay, so once you figure that out, we can then set your goal. And the goal is there are 3,500 calories a pound. And by adjusting your calorie intake every day, you can see how that adds up after a week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, after 4. So if you're doing 3,500 calories in a pound and you're trying to lose a pound a week, you would need to subtract 500 calories a day off of this final number that you get. And if you're really good at sticking as close to your meal prepping as possible, by the end of the week, you'll lose a pound. It's simple math, but that's really how you have to conceptualize this whole thing is, all right, I'm going to prepare my meals so I know exactly how much I'm getting in. And then by making that adjustment based on how much you want to lose each week, and you stick to it really well, just doing that alone, you will lose the weight. And This is one great way for you to do it, is by being able to prepare your meals. And so we also break down the different macronutrients. Look, if you haven't heard what a macronutrient is, if you've never heard of a protein, of a fat, of a carbohydrate, you either been living under a rock or you just haven't spent that much time trying to figure it out. So we explain it to you. But all you have to think about is that you have the three main players: your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. Proteins are very important when it comes to muscle building and repairing of tissues. Fats, like we had alluded to earlier, are essential for the body too. You can't have 0% body fat. There's a lot of hormonal processes that happen in the body, similar to protein, but the transport of those hormones in your body is dependent on your fat too as well. So you don't ever want to go too restrictive on fat, okay? Because then you'll start affecting some of your hormone processes, and you don't want to do that. The carbohydrates are the yummy carbohydrates that everybody tends to overeat on. They're demonized, but look, it's actually your body's preferred energy source. So you can't cut those out completely. You want to make sure that you're timing your meals correctly, but that you're getting healthy carbohydrates, and your timing is going to be important on that too as well. So I'll give you a little bit of a formulation on how you should be doing that. Now, we talked about setting goals, determining your meals, getting your containers, and then all the steps you need for your meal prep. That's all set here. We talked about setting your goal. Okay, how much do you want to lose? And that gives you an idea how much you should be shaving off that daily TDEE when it comes to calculating that together. Also determining, am I in a weight loss or am I in a weight gain? What are you trying to do? These are all things you have to sit and think about and have a little bit of a game plan going into it. Getting your containers. So if you're not having meals delivered to you, or you don't have a private chef, you'll have to prep these and leave them in some type of containers. And again, I'm going to be giving you a resource of where you can go and get those. They're super cheap nowadays. One of the hacks I do is, if you go to a Chinese restaurant and order food there, you can ask them for some of those extra containers, because they'll usually have a bunch of those in the to-go plate. They're good for a couple uses, but then, if they give them to you, you saved a bit of money there. You could buy those containers at Walmart, at Costco. They're everywhere. You can find meal prep stuff all over the place. But also in the extra document I'll put at the end of this video, I'll give you a bunch of links to some of the ones I order up on Amazon. Creating your schedule when it comes to meal prepping, it's going to take a little bit of preparation on your part. That's going to go get the food, but also I like utilizing what I call batch cooking. That's doing a batch cook once. That should be enough for 2 to 3 days, and then doing that once again in the week. Or if you have to, you can do a little bit of prep every day. So it really just depends on how your schedule is. Everybody's schedule is a little different. I like using batch cooking because I'm either here at home for 4 days or I'm at work for 2 at the fire department. And so I like batching my meals to be enough to get through those first couple of days. You can do for 3 or 4 days. It's really tough to try to do it for a whole 7 or more, because the food, you cooked it a week ago, it tends to go bad. And so by utilizing batch cooking is one way to cut out a whole bunch of time later on. Or if you can dedicate 30 minutes a day, you're going to have to do a little bit of meal prep, depending how your schedule's set up. And again, quick run through of just what all is covered here in the guide. I'm also going to be providing you with a document and links that you can click and get to. And I'll show you, I got some of that stuff here with me. Meal portioning kits. Now there's some more resources in this. I just ordered these from Amazon. I'll ship these to clients, but give you the link that you can click on and grab this stuff too. It's got a ton of little portioning guides for your vegetables, for your meats, and for your fats. So it's one way you can have a good visual representation of how to portion those out if you don't want to use the hand method. Very inexpensive, very easy to get. Hey, you lose one of these containers, or you lose a couple of them, you just order up another box. I think it was like 15 to 20 bucks. It wasn't a whole lot, but a ton of resources inside this that you can pair up with your meal planning there as well. Also, links to some of the other things we have here. This is a shaker bottle for if you're going to be implementing protein shakes into your diet. And last one, I've probably got 10 of these. I keep them all over the place, but a digital scale to weigh your food so you can portion it out. Or if you get to the point where you're really trying to dial in your calories and your macronutrients, you can get to the point where you're actually weighing your food. And this is a really good tool. I'll send you the link to get this one. Like, you could spend a little bit of money on these. You could spend a whole bunch of them. If you're just measuring, this was like less than 10 bucks. And tells you exactly. So if you're really strict on your calories and on your portioning, if you get to that point, having a digital scale is going to do wonders for you. So I'll provide that again in the document at the bottom of this video. Use this guide. This is the basis of what I did to lose over 40 pounds of fat And there were a ton of things that I learned along the way. And by putting together a resource that you could easily use, easily pull up and pair this video with it along with some of these guides, that's going to set you up. A little bit of preparation and a little bit of work goes a long way. So I hope you found this helpful. Leave me comments at the bottom of this video if you're in the Tautua tribe. Send us a message if you have questions about it. You could also leave that here in this thread or in the video, wherever you're viewing this at. Use this guide, and I'm excited to see where you go with your fitness journey. If you're in a weight loss plan, muscle building plan, regardless, I'd love to stay up on your progress. But if you're also wanting to do something a little bit more personalized and want some more one-on-one coaching on walking you through this, or if you want to get set up on a fitness and nutrition program and you enjoy this but want to see what we can do one-on-one, reach out to me directly. You can email me here. My contact information is all over this thing. info@tautuafitness.com. If you're in the Tautua Fitness community, you can direct message me directly. You can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. Just reach out and I will help you. Also, be sure to join in on the Tautua Fitness community, because I'll be doing live Q&A sessions where I'll be covering topics that are related to this guide, also workout programs, but something that's specific to you. You catch me in one of these live Q&A sessions, you can ask something that's highly specific to you and get a ton of benefit from that. Again, you have any questions, you have any comments, leave it down below. Hope you found this useful, and I want to stay up on your journey and see how well you're doing. In the meantime, I'll be ending this video here. We'll see you in the tribe. This is Coach Kia signing off.